Hi FlossTube, Nancy Quilting Stitcher here. Welcome to my channel. I have a lot of new subscribers that I've gotten in the last week, so thank you for subscribing and welcome. Welcome to my channel. I believe this is FlossTube number 15, and today is January 31st, my grandma's birthday. If she was still alive, she would be 109 years old today. She's been gone for a long time, but happy birthday in heaven to my grandma. This is take 3. My first one, I can't remember what happened. Anyway, so I stopped doing it. And then my second one, I needed to blow my nose. I am not sick. I have not been sick this winter, knock on wood, but I do have allergies, I guess. The older I get, I've developed allergies. I never ever had them. And my nose was running, I needed to blow it, and I hit stop instead of pause. And since I don't know how to edit, we're on take 3. I am not stopping this video again. So if I have to blow my nose, I will say, excuse me, I'll blow my nose. And yeah, anyway. So, I don't even know what I've talked about or anything. So I am just going to jump into stitchy stuff. Oh, I do know one thing I wanted to say. Karma is a real thing. I'm going to tell you, I have had karma come and bite me in the butt. Yeah. So this town that I live in, I should say our community we live in, it's a small community. We have, I believe, 5 or 6 towns in our community, but they're only within a few miles of each other. And in our community, we have 2 counties. And the county is separated by the Snake River. So, yeah, and a lot of people have heard of the Snake River. It's a huge river. I think it goes from, I don't know where it starts, but it ends up and dumps into the Columbia River in Oregon. So it goes right through my community, right smack dab in my community. And anyway, so the two counties, like I said, we're all just really close. And before I got married, I lived in the county on the other side of the river. And I own a house over there. But I don't live in that county. When I got married, I moved into my husband's house, which is in the other county on this side of the river. And anyway, so I got December, middle of December, I got jury summons. And I sent it back because it had like 5 questions you had to answer on there. One of which is, do you live in this county? I don't live in that county. And if you don't live in the county, you don't have to serve jury duty in that county. So, which, I don't know. This is one of those things that make you go, But they sent it to my house. They sent the summons to my house in the county that I live in, which is not the county they wanted me to serve jury duty in. So you would think if they're sending it to my address in a different county, that obviously I don't live in that county. Anyway, but maybe it's because I own a house in that county. I don't know. Because I have a rental house in that county. So one of the questions I asked, do you live in this county? I bet, no, I don't live in the county. And then asked some other questions like if I had any health issues that would, cause problems if I served jury duty. And if I did, I had to have a note from my doctor. And if I was, 70 years old or something like that, if I was over that age, then it asks you if you're over that age, because if you're over that age, you don't have to unless you want to serve jury duty. So anyway, I filled out the little 5 questions or whatever, mailed it off, thinking, oh, I don't have to do jury duty, which I don't, and whatever, it doesn't matter. If I have to serve it, I serve it. If I don't, I don't. This is the 3rd time, I had been summoned. The first 2 times I was like this close to being on the jury, and they were both cases that, the one case, especially would have been really hard to hear because it was just it involved a child. But anyway, and the other one I was close, and then they ended up doing a plea bargain, so I didn't have to do that one. But anyway, so thought I was cleared of doing jury duty. Karma. A couple of weeks ago, I get summons for jury duty in the county I live in. So starting March 1st, I'm going to be calling in because I don't know how it works in all counties. In the two that we live in, you have to call, or you can go on their website, but it's like Sunday night after a certain time. You call in or go onto the website to see if you have to show up for court Monday morning or for that week. I believe, I don't know. I can't remember. I don't remember how it works. But anyway, so yeah, for the next 3 months, from March 1st until May 31st, I am stuck doing nothing but working and calling in for jury duty. There we go. There you go. It's going to be my life. That's okay. At least it's not. I was worried because there's district court and magistrate court, and one of them is 4 months, and then one of them's 3. And the 4-month one would have put me into June, to the end of June. And that means I would have had to miss my quilting retreat that I go to in June. And that would have meant I would have had to miss vacation because my husband was talking about going on vacation at the end of June. And yeah. So at least mine's the 3-month one, so mine ends the end of May, so it's not going to mess with any of that stuff. Okay, so let's get into stitchy stuff because I have fully finished objects. Last summer, I decided to try ice dyeing for the first time. And I had some charts that I have had for years and years and years. The designer no longer publishes charts. They're out of print. So I don't know. I don't know if you can find them or not. The designer is called Sisters and Best Friends. And I had these charts for years and I wanted to stitch them up. And so I thought I would try ice dyeing for the first time and dye them in the colors that I wanted the fabric to stitch these pieces up. And I showed the finished pieces in some of my videos previous. I believe it was my first, second, third video, right around there. And they are called Forest the Snowman, Violet the Snowman, and I believe it's Flake the Snow Baby. I'm not sure of the baby's name. But anyway, those are the charts. And I loved how the fabric came out from the ice dyeing. It actually gave me the exact color that I wanted. And I don't know. I don't know that this is just an option for ice dyeing. I used acrylic paints, put them outside. It was hot outside, so the ice melted fairly quick. And then I just put them on the grass. So I had paint spots on my grass until the grass grew. But I didn't have the mess to clean up. And then when you do the ice dyeing, it does have the acrylic paint on them, so you don't want them to dry. And then I just brought them in the house and rinsed them, so you get the excess paint off of it. And anyway, I ended up with really pretty, really, really, really pretty fabric. So anyway, this is what I did with them. I finished them into pillows. When I stitched them up, I had no idea what I was going to do with them. I just wanted to stitch the pieces. I wanted to use the fabric that I had ice dyed, and I wanted to stitch the pieces because I'd had these charts forever, and I just want to stitch them. So I decided that I wanted to make. I didn't want to frame them. I knew that, and then I decided they were really too big for flat folds. So I decided just to make pillows out of them. And I had these 12-inch pillow forms in a tote in my garage. And so I pulled them out and I thought, oh, they'll work perfect. I did have to add a little piece of fabric to the bottom to make them big enough, but super, super easy to make using the pillow forms, because the method I used is called the envelope method, and so I can change out the pillows. I can change out the pillows if I want. So if I have, you know, these are for winter. I know this kind of looks Christmassy, but I'm going to put them out for winter, and I can change them out. So if I have something that I've stitched and I want it for summer or spring or fall or whatever, I can switch them out if I want to. And this fabric I just had in my fabric stash. It was leftover scraps from tree skirts that I made tree skirts, quilted tree skirts a couple of years ago for my two daughters and my daughter-in-law. And this is just scrap fabric I had left over. So, and then I added, these are buttons, snowflake buttons, and the red rickrack I just sewed on it. So there's that one. The other one I have is the baby one, Flake. And again, leftover fabric from those, sorry, let me drink. Mountain Dew on Ice. There you go. Leftover fabric from the tree skirts that I made a couple of years ago. This trim, I used to be a scrapbooker. This trim was in my scrapbooking stash. It was actually I actually bought it in the scrapbooking section or a scrapbook store. But anyway, I just sewed this trim in there. He was actually not wide enough, so I had to add a little bit of fabric right there to the side also. I also used the envelope method. These go fast. I'm a quilter, but I'm not a sewer. And unless I have a pattern to follow, my mind just doesn't work that way to just look at something and make it. So this was kind of a challenge, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm telling you, because with quilts I have patterns and it tells me exactly how to cut and all of that stuff. And so quilting really isn't that hard, I guess. To me, it's not that hard, but I follow a pattern. And so, and I have made an envelope pillow before. I showed you a finish back in, I believe, November in one of my videos of it was a long pillow that I made for Thanksgiving. And I just kind of used that same method, and I just, to make the envelope, but I had to do my own measurements, and so it's just, I had to do my own thinking, and that's not me. Trust me, it's not me. If I have a pattern, great. If I don't, heaven help me. So anyway, I still need to do this one. This is Violet. If somebody asks me what my favorite color is, I will probably tell them purple. But I don't know if I really have a favorite color. And so, and I don't have any purple in my fabric stash, in, my quilting fabric stash. So anyways, I gotta find some fabric. But I've seen some purple, it's like a purple and blue and that for winter, and it has snowflakes on it. And so I'm gonna see if I can find some of that. So she's not finished yet, but these two are, and I have them sitting on the back of my couch for right now, for a couple of weeks. I don't know. Then I'll probably put them up. Maybe I'll leave them out. Who knows? Maybe we'll have snowman in April. Okay, so the other fully finished piece I had is this. So I've been stitching the Year in Chalk series by Hands On Design. I've done October, November, December, January, and now I have February finished. And in the last time I showed it in one of my videos, I think it was a couple of videos ago, I had some of this in here and I was working on the borders. Last week I didn't show it in my video because I hadn't stitched on it enough to you would even see any progress on it. But I did pull it out this week, and it is now finished, and it is also a fully finished piece. So, sorry, I have to reach. Here's my fully finished piece. Oh, hope you can see that. So what I did is I used DMC floss. I used the white for the white, DMC white, and then I used 3688 for the pink. And then up here you will see there I have put little beads, I don't know if you can see them or not. They are supposed to be stitched in the pink, but I chose to put beads in there. Because on each of these ones I am going to be switching up a little bit just to kind of make it unique and make it my own. It is mounted on mounting board. This is fabric from my fabric scraps, also mounted on mounting board, and then I just put the two together. And then my bow, I'm not a bow maker, so my sad looking bow. And this will go up on, I showed you in a previous video, the frame I had bought from, I believe I bought it at Michael's. And I'm putting all of these on. I've kind of stole Priscilla's idea of how I'm displaying them. So anyway, there's that one. So I finished and I fully finished on that one. Next I'm going to show you, when I did my video that I showed all my framed finishes that I have hanging around my house, I forgot to show the ones I have in this room. This room that I'm sitting in. Completely forgot to pull them off the walls. Anyway, so I thought I would show them. There's only 4 of them. This one is my first one I'm going to show you. This is called Sewing. It's by Imaginating. All of these patterns, all 4 of these charts that I'm going to show you, or finishes I'm going to show you, are still available on 1-2-3 Stitch. It's where I purchased them, and they are still available. Anyway, this is a thrift store frame that I painted. And I just added, I have some little buttons, sewing machine, a spool of thread, and some scissors that I just glued on the frame. And sorry for the glare. I have glass in them. Can't be helped. I did change the colors up in this a little bit. I stitched the sewing machine itself on with 3371. I'm not sure what the called for color was. That may have been the called for color. But I did switch up the colors because I wanted to do some of the words in different colors. And some of the motifs are stitched in different colors. So, and then I had my lady who cuts my mats for me, cut me a mat. And there it is. Next one I want to show you is called Hooked on Scissors. It is by Hand Blessings, I think is the designer. Eileen Gurik. I don't know if that's how you say it. It's G-U-R-A-K. Hooked on Scissors. This is a frame I just had in my frame box. Just a black frame, simple black frame. I don't remember if I don't remember if any of the floss that I used was called for floss. I don't remember that. I believe the border here and hooked on is stitched in DMC 433. The scissors are stitched in DMC 310. And then the word scissors is stitched in the DMC variegated floss. And then it did come with the charm, the little scissor charms, and this little heart charm that I added. And this was stitched last year. The next one is called This Is My Happy Place by The Scarlet House. Again, a thrift store frame that I painted. This is done on the fabric is DMC fabric. I don't know the name of it. It kind of almost has the same feel, or yeah, the same feel as maybe a coffee dyed with the modeling, or vintage country Mocha, is that what it's called? DMC floss was used to stitch it. I'm not sure if it called for DMC or if it called for fancy floss. I don't know. I can't remember. Instead of stitching the buttons, cross-stitching the buttons, I put real buttons in there. And I did put a real needle. So there's that one. This next one is also in a thrift store frame. It is called Pincushion by Cherrywood Designs. This chart, there is, I believe there's like 3, there's the big one you can stitch like this, and then there's a couple of little ones. There might be a scissor fob, and then I think there's a pin keep. I'm not sure. I know there's a pin keep, but I chose to do the big one. Thrift store frame. Again, stitched on that DMC fabric, whatever it's called. I'm not sure the color. It is, I did the words in DMC 3371 and then the pin cushion in DMC variegated. It says, a small firm pillow used for the convenient storage of needles and pins, often decorative, always useful. They do in this series have other charts that have a word and then the definition. So, and then I just added little buttons, measuring tape. There's a thimble, and then these up here are spools of thread. And I just glued them to the frame. So anyway, thought I would show you those. The next thing I have are my finishes. I've got a lot done. Not only did I finish the hands-on design one, I have several other ones I finished. The first one I want to show you, where is it? There it is. Okay, back in November, I decided I was going to stitch the Hometown Holiday series. And this is the first one in the series. It's called My House. There so you can see it. And I am stitching these in order. So I know a lot of people have stitched the train station and the tree lot this year. I'm stitching them in order because I plan on doing them all. So I decided not to jump on the bandwagon and do the 2 most popular charts. I'm just going to do them in order. So I started with My House, and when I stitched it, I had the dilemma of if I wanted to put what I wanted to put down here, if I wanted to put our house, or if I wanted to put my last name, my husband's last name. I do not have the same last name as my husband. I may have discussed that in one of my videos. I don't know. Anyway, it's a long story, but I have chosen to keep my name that I've had for my entire adult life rather than change my married name. And maybe eventually I'll change it to my married name, change my name to my married name, but it's just a lot of work when you're older and established to change everything. I remember when I first got married back when I was in my early 20s. It wasn't that hard to change my last name, and when I got married and I started to change my last name, it's hard. When you are 50 years old, it's hard to change, because you're so established and you have to change so many things, insurance and credit cards and bank accounts and savings accounts and social security and what else was there? Driver's license, passport. Oh my gosh. I started, the only thing that has my married name on it is my Facebook account. Anyway, so anybody who's friends with me on Facebook, if you get a package in the mail that has a different name on it, it is for me. And I didn't want to, so this was my dilemma. My dilemma was, do I put my name, which would have been the name that my kids had growing up. My son still has the name. One of my daughters still has the name. Do I put that name? Or do I put my husband's name? And no, you know, I didn't want to put my name on there because my husband would not want this displayed in the house with my ex-husband's last name on it. So I thought, well, I could put my husband, you know, my married name on it, my husband's name on it. And then I thought, no, because that's not my other dilemma. Because if my kids, you know, decided when I'm long gone, if they wanted to keep things that mom had stitched and they wanted this, they probably wouldn't want my married name on there. They would want their name on there, you know, that they were raised with. Um, my stepkids, they're not going to want these things. They are not. It's another story for another day. Anyway, so I thought, so what I did is I stitched it, and I had stitched the border on it, but I had left where the name goes blank because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I had stitched it, put it aside, and decided that I was going to stitch some of the other buildings, and then I would decide what I was going to do with it. So now I have some of the other buildings done. And comparing it size-wise, just the house part of it size-wise to the other buildings, it's roughly the same size. So I figured if I left that off, they would all be about the same size. You know, some are a little bit taller than others, but roughly they're the same size. So now it is out of timeout. I picked out the border, frogged it, and it is finished. So yeah, you can see where my border was in. When I fully finish this, because I am stitching them individually, when I fully finish it, you will not see that border. I have not decided exactly how I'm going to fully finish them, but I have in my mind how I'm thinking I'm probably going to do them. So that won't matter. So anyway, and I added the little beads for snowflakes. I decided to add these little beads when I started the series. And, but, so they are not charted. So there's not supposed to be stitches where the little beads are. So I added them in. But on the next one I finished, which I will show you in a minute, it actually has them charted to stitch just like little single stitches for snowflakes. And so I'm doing the beads. And that's kind of adding my own personal touch to it. So that's my house. So then the next one I have finished is number 4 in the series, Sweet Shop. There you go. This is so cute. The last time I showed you this, I had just the brown of the bottom part of the house done, or the building. I guess it's not a house because no one lives in it. They sell goodies. So anyway, I just had the bottom house, or the brown part of the building done. And there it is. I finished this up last night. Put my last stitch in it last night. And there you go. So, and I am using, on all of these, I'm using the DMC, the called for DMC floss, and where it calls for fancy floss, I am just using the DMC equivalent. So, there it is. And you will see the little beads for the snowflakes, and then if you will look right here, I put red beads on the wreath instead of doing French knots because I'm horrible at French knots. So there you go. And, oh, one other thing I changed on this is if you will look at the chart, it has a bow on the wreath. Now, I don't like the bow. I don't like it. I think it looks funny. So I left it off. So there you go. Sorry for the light coming in. The sun is finally peeking out of the clouds and it's coming through this window. So anyway, there you go. There is another finish. My needle has been on fire. I'm telling you. They're all small projects, so it's not like I've stitched a lot. The next one is Clara Ellen by Blackburst Design. This I am stitching in memory of my grandma, the one I mentioned it at the first of the video. I think I mentioned it. Take number 3, I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not. It's her birthday today. I did think I did. She'd be 109. Anyway, if she was alive. This one is in her memory. Anyway, I finished that up this week, and here it is. All finished. I am going to take this with me in the next couple of days to the thrift store. I'm going to take this piece with me, and I'm going to see if I can find a frame for it, because it is square. So there you go. This one, I'm not even going to go into the details of the floss that I used. It was DMC, some DMC, some Classic Colorworks, and some Color and Cotton floss. I changed out a lot of floss because I just changed out. I decided I wanted certain things, certain colors. If you look closely, it's kind of hard to see. You can see it in real life better, but I put my initials here. And down here, I stitched the year that I finished it. It has my grandma's name. It says grandmother and her birth year and her death year. And then on the border, the bottom border and this side, it had a specialty stitch. I'm not sure what the name of it was. I don't do specialty stitches, so I just cross-stitched. I just continued the border that was here, continued it over. So there you go. And I love it. I love these charts. So yeah, so hopefully it will be fully framed, if I can find a frame for it, next week. And then I will put it on display in my China hutch. Okay, so that's all my finishes. Now we're on to whips. I only have one whip. And the reason why is because I have all those finishes. So, my whip is Shepherd's Bush Stocking Jillian. I don't have the original chart, which if you go back and watch my past videos, you'll see why. But I do have a picture. This is what it looks like. This is, I got this picture off Pinterest. This is someone's else. It is Julian's stocking. That's the name of the chart. This person obviously did not put Julian there because they stitched it for Allison. And there in the dark. Anyway, so that's what it is supposed to look like. Okay. There's a story behind this one. So my friend Esther, hi Esther. She's one of my subscribers. She is thinking about doing these stockings. And I showed you, I think in my last video, that I had finished up Peter's stocking, I think. So I showed it as a finish. It is not a finish no longer. So Esther messaged me the other day on Facebook, and she's like, I'm going to do the stockings, trying to figure out the fabric. Anyway. And she says, how big's your fabric? And then it got me thinking. And I'm like, well, I messaged her back and said, this is how big I'm doing them. And then I got thinking, I'm like, that's not going to be a very big stocking. And I pulled out the stockings that we currently used, and it's going to be the same size as those, but I was wanting these ones to be bigger. Because if you will look at the picture on the chart, it has the stocking, and this stocking is huge. It is the same size as the child's body that is sitting next to the stocking. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, these are not going to be big enough. So, because she got me thinking, thank you for messaging me so that I started thinking about this, so that I didn't get them all done and then realize these are not as big as I want them to be. So I had shown in my last video that I had started stitching Julian's stocking. And on the stocking, I had of the angel, I had her dress outlined. I had her arm stitched. And I believe I had the outline of the stitching of the sheep done. And my fabric wasn't going to be big enough because I wanted a bigger stocking, which it would have been if I kept the stockings the same size. It would have been big enough because it went to the edge. The heel and the toe would have kind of went to the edge, but it would have been giving me enough of us so I could do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So it would have been fine. But I wanted the stockings to be bigger. So, yeah. So the fabric I used wasn't big enough, so I scrapped it. I didn't frog it out. I just put it in with my fabric stash. So if I go to ever use that fabric, I'm going to have to frog out a thread out. But, so I started it over. And I worked and worked and worked really hard and got back to where I was in 2 days. So, and then I've worked on it since. So here is Jillian's stocking. There you go. I'm not going to hold this thing up. You'll just have to, there it is. This stocking is going to be pretty much this long, which is, if I measure it, it's going to be about 20 inches when it's finished. It'll be 20 inches long. And then it's going to be pretty wide. Okay, so I restitched her arm and the outline of her dress and the sheep. And if you look close, you can kind of see the wing is all outlined there. I got part of the staff done. And this is the top border. The top border is actually only one of these arrows with the hearts on them. I'll put it closer so you can see the arrows with the hearts. It's only one of them. But because, okay, let me kind of back up a little bit. When I looked at the chart, because I do have some of the original charts. It is stitched on 18 count linen over 2. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but if I was going to do 18 count linen over 2, wouldn't that be the same as doing 9 count Aida? Right? Which would make it the big stocking. I'm doing mine on 14 count. Now when I looked at it and I saw when I originally looked at it and I saw 18 count, that's where my mind stopped. At 18 count, and my mind went to Aida, not linen. So, anyway, that's been kind of my problem. So, I'm going to have to do a lot of modification and adjusting on these stockings. That is why I'm so glad that I do not have all of them done or more into them. So, on here, this bottom one is the charted. So, I need to make, because my stocking, right here's the top of my stocking. Okay, and I do still have to put the name in. And so what I did is I put another border on there. And I used the purple from her dress for the hearts, and I did the arrows going the opposite way. So then what I'm going to do is I'll count up, because I'll leave enough space for the name, and I'll probably leave, there's only 2 spaces between where the bottom of the name is and the top of the border. I'll probably leave maybe 4 spaces, so it will be up higher. So I'm going to count up, and I'm going to repeat this border up here at the top. So I'll have 2 borders on it. Which in the chart, it does not have 2 borders. If you will look, you can see it does not have 2 borders. So mine will. And then also what I'll do when I go to stitch them up after I put the names on them, decide who's getting what, and I put the names on them. Then if I need to, and there's still a lot of blank space, I can always add like maybe a piece of lace or something, bric-a-brac, something to fancy them up a little bit. Okay, so now because they're going to be longer and wider, the part that goes in the bottom, if you will see, the part that goes in the bottom down here, it has a rolling hills with a shepherd and sheep and some trees. Okay, so I'm going to stitch this on my stocking, but I'm going to have to add to both the heel side and the toe side of it to make it fit in that space. So there's my toe, there's my heel. So I'm going to probably, and I'm going to have to modify. Some of them are just borders. So I can just, like the Peter stocking, it just had sheep on the bottom. So I can just add an extra sheep and then extend the border over. Some of them have trees going clear across the bottom. So I can just put extra trees. These ones this one I'm going to actually have to modify a little bit. So I'm going to have to stitch it, maybe put another hill with some more trees and another hill on this end with a couple more sheep or something like that. I will make them work. This is way, way out of my comfort zone to do that because I am chart as charted, or stitch as charted. I stitch it as charted. I usually don't change the colors. You know, I don't switch colors up and use my own colors. Very seldom do I change colors, but I always chart the chart as charted because that's how I thought you always did until I discovered Flosstube. I didn't realize that people change stuff. I didn't realize that. But anyway, so this is where I'm at, and I'm going to discontinue stitching on this. These are fast, and I have thoroughly enjoyed doing these. And so thank you, Esther, for bringing that to my attention, because I would have just been sick if I would have just continued stitching them and then got them all done and realized that they would have worked. They would have worked, but my whole purpose of redoing stockings for my entire family, which is going to be, I can't remember, I figured up 19. If I do my husband and myself, my 3 kids, their spouses, all my grandkids, and my husband's 2 kids, I think I figured up 19. I don't know. Anyway, so I would have just been heartbroken if I had done all 19. And because I wanted bigger stockings than what we have. And anyway, so that's where I'm at. So my plans for the week is to continue working on the shepherd's bush stocking. When it is done, I will probably start a new one. If I get done, I'll get it done in the next week. But I'm just going to keep working on them because I'm enjoying them. I'm enjoying these, and I'm enjoying the Hometown Holiday Series. So I'm just going to keep working on them. And then until I get burned out on them, and then I'll put them away and work on other things for a while. So some of the other starts that I have started on with my 12 Days of Christmas starts that I started on, and I've just kind of put away. My Halloween rules, I am not going to stitch on it for a while. I'm just going to continue working on the shepherd's bush and the Hometown Holidays. So the next chart I'm going to start in the Hometown Holiday series is called Toy Store. Just that one. That is really cute. It has a little rocking horse in the window. And so that's the next one. So this is in my plans for this week. I will be working on that. And then so if you're new to my channel, I'm going to repeat this if you're new to my channel. So in my Facebook group, I am doing a stitch along, and I will link my Facebook group into the description below. So if you want to go and join that group, you're more than welcome. We have any kind of needlework that you want to post, you can. It's very low key. It's a closed group, so you don't get all of the crap that you can get with other groups. And there's not a whole lot of, I think there's 200 and some subscribers, I think. I don't know. I can't remember how many people's on that group. So if you want to join, go to the link below. Anyway, we're doing a stitch along in that group, and we are doing Santa's Village, and it started January 1st. So there's 12 in the series. We're doing one each month. There's no rules. You want to stitch, that's all you want to stitch on, and you get them done in 3 months, great. If you want to do one a month, which is how I'm doing it, And a lot of stitchers they're just doing one a month in the stitch along, so it'll be a year-long series. There is actually, I think, someone on there that started the series a while back and had put it away, and so they've brought it back out and are doing the stitch along with us. So they have a few houses done. So this is the one we will start February 1st, which is Poinsettia House. So I will start this tomorrow. This is going to be my start for February 1st. And I'll just work on it throughout the month of February. There's no race to get it done. So, so I'll be working on that this week, starting it tomorrow, and then working on it throughout the month of February. The next thing I am going to be working on, if you go and watch Nana's Needles on FlossTube, her name is Andy. Hi, Andy. I love her. She's so fun. So go check her out. You have to check her FlossTube video out because she's so inspiring. She has so many, like her last video, she had 5 fully finished things that she had done. So go check her out. She has some really cute stuff that she's finished and what she's working on. Anyway, so she has inspired me to do this, and she started hers in January. I will be starting mine on February 4th. But on the 4th of every month, she is working on a patriotic stitch piece. And her one she started on January 4th, she actually is finished with, and she shows it as fully finished in the video, in her last video. But so I decided she has inspired me, and that is what I'm going to do. So on the 4th of every month, I am going to work on this, Liberty's Welcome. This was one of my 12 Days of Christmas starts, and I really want, this is my focal piece. This is my big piece for 2018, and that's why I started it for my 12 Days of Christmas, but I have not stitched on it since the day I started it back in December. But I decided that I am going to work on this, take her inspiration and her idea, and I'm going to work on this on the 4th day of every month. And it's going to be my patriotic piece that will be stitched on the 4th day of every month. Also, I'm going to, not only am I going to stitch it on the 4th day of every month, I am part of the Facebook group that is Friday Off the Grid Needle Arts. If you have not joined that group, I suggest you join it. It is so much fun, and I belong to several groups on Facebook for cross stitching. Some I like more than others. I don't like a lot of drama, and so this one does not have drama. And so Friday Off the Grid Needle Arts. Caroline, she's Off the Grid Needle Arts on FlossTube. If you haven't checked her videos out, go check her out. She's from Canada. And I don't stitch the things that she stitches. She stitches beautiful pieces. Oh my gosh, beautiful pieces, but they're huge. She does huge pieces. She very rarely stitches smaller pieces. But I love her videos. I just love to listen to her talk and, and chat. Anyway, so she does 2 videos a week. She does her update video on Mondays, and then she does the Stitch With Me video on Fridays. And then, but anyway, in the Friday Off the Grid Needle Arts Facebook group, she does a virtual stitch-in. And what it is it's a stitch-in that is on Friday nights from 6 p.m. until midnight. And and you're in your time zone. So whatever time zone you are in, you start stitching at 6 p.m. and you stitch till midnight. That's the premises of the whole video. Or of the whole Facebook, of the whole stitch-in, is you stitch between those hours. So it's a virtual stitch-in. I have done it, I think Friday will be the 4th week that she's been doing it. I have done it let's see. Yeah, Friday will be the 4th week because I've done it 2 times. There's one I missed. Fridays are kind of up in the air for me because my husband, sometimes he leaves out for work at midnight Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, midnight. And so he'll go to bed at like 5 or 6 o'clock at night on Friday night. And so when he does that, then I have joined in on those dates. I have sat down and I don't usually go the whole 6 hours. I think I usually go about 4 and then I'm done. I'm tired. My eyes are tired. But and there's been a couple of times I've joined. I think there was one night I didn't get stitch until I didn't get start until an hour into it. Anyway, and you don't have to go the whole time, but you can go onto the Facebook group and you can post pictures of where you start and where you finish. And anyway, it's a fun thing, and it's like, and a lot of times I'll put a floss tube on the TV and I'll catch up on some floss tubes that I have in my queue to watch. I'll watch her. I usually watch her stitch with me video then. Anyway, so I have decided starting this week, I'm going to also work on this one on Fridays if I participate in that. So this piece will not be in a rotation, but if I participate in the virtual stitch-in on Friday nights, I'm going to work on this piece, and I'm going to work this on the 4th of every month. That's going to be the piece I work on. When I started this, I tend to start in the middle and then work out. So when I started this, obviously I started in the middle, which ended up being up here in the roof. And after stitching Lantern Lane, I am so glad I started that where I did. That Lantern Lane house was a beast. And I think if I had started on anywhere else on that and had to do the house at the end, I don't know if I'd have finished it. Just because stitching red after red after red and then black after black. Or, well, I didn't do the house black or the roof black. I did it a variegated brown. But anyway, that's another video. That's another video I've already done, so I won't go into it. But so I started this in the middle, which ends up being in the roof. And look at that house. That house is a beast. I'm telling you, it's a beast. So I am glad I started where I did because I'm going to do the house and get it out of the way. So that when I get the house done, I know I have all this fun stuff and colors and everything to do. So the house will be stitched. So when I show you updates, you're going to see the house a lot until it's done. Anyway, so that's going to be those are my plans for the week, or my plans for the month, probably. And like I said, the Hometown Holiday series, I'm going to keep working on the Shepherd Stocking. Ones I'm going to keep working. When I'm done with that one, I'll just start another one until I'm burned out on them, and then I will take a break from them for a while and get into some of my other 12 Days of Christmas. I'll work them into my rotation. But yeah, for the most part, I am doing basically these 4 projects for the near future. Okay, my video has gone on long enough. I really, really, really wanted to keep this under 45 minutes, and it's over almost by 10 minutes. So I am going to say goodbye, and I'm going to get this video uploaded and give me something to eat because I'm starting to get a headache. I woke up with a headache. When I have a dream that like repeats over and over and over, like I'll have a dream and I'll be stuck in a spot, and it just kind of keeps going over and over. I tend to wake up with a headache. And I woke up with a headache this morning, and I had taken some ibuprofen, and it had pretty much went away. I mean, it's still a little bit there, but it had pretty much gone away. But, yeah, it's coming back, but I think it's because I'm hungry. So I'm going to get this video started uploading, and I'm going to go eat something, and I will, I'll see you next week. Oh, I do want to say hi to Diane, my friend in Texas. We've been messaging back and forth through Messenger, so I've made a new Stitchy friend that I'm actually talking to, which is fun. We always talk Stitchy stuff, and we've talked about other stuff, a little bit of life stuff, I guess, a little bit. So, hi, Diane. I'll get your chart in the mail in the next couple of days. Promise. We're exchanging a chart. So, she has one that I want, and I have one that she wants. So, and they're both duplicates that we have. So, we are swapping charts. It'll be fun. But anyway, so I will see you next week. Bye.